All right. Hello, hello. So today we are going to start exploring a new topic, and this one is on your vision. So it's clear that the things that you're getting stuck in right now are not exactly what you want. And you also have a clear picture in your head of what it is that you do want. And yet that picture has been rummaging around in your head for decades. So as we start to come into this new place in our minds where we are going to start to open up new headspace, which is going to free us from the place that we thought we wanted in the past. Because what we thought we wanted in the past was we thought we wanted control. We felt like we're out of control. So if we think that we're out of control, we must need to be in control, which is the exact opposite of what I want to teach you here. By the way, my name is Lisa Callahan. I am the founder here of the Women's Emotional Eating Community Support Group. So I'm happy to have you here, and I'm happy to have you experiencing this training with me. So I want to introduce you to a new word, and this word is called nerve-sighted. So you can pretty much guess what it's about. Nerve-sighted is where you're nervous and you're excited. So I want you to picture a time in your life where you were really, really interested in what you were doing. You were excited about something. You were taking risks. You didn't know if something was going to work. Like, I don't know, like when I was in band, when I was a kid, I played the clarinet, by the way. I remember being, kind of nerve-sighted. Like I was scared because I hadn't been on stage before. I hadn't done a concert. I was a shy kid, blah, blah, blah. But then at the same time, I was like, I'd worked so hard and I really wanted to do this thing that I had never really done before. And so it's kind of like nerve-sighted. I think that what happens is that because the vision that you have in your mind about this future version of yourself, like what it will mean to your life, not just like what you'll look like or what clothes you're going to fit into when you lose the weight, like that's not important. What is important is how it will change your life. I know that I have a lot of women who tell me that they struggle with, as soon as they start to lose weight, that like people start to actually recognize it. And because some part of this, journey of gaining and losing and dieting and not dieting and all that stuff is somewhat secret. It's behind the scenes, especially the binge eating part. I don't know about you, but I never binged in front of people. It wasn't like I was like, hey, Jane, can I have those, that box of cookies? I'm just going to sit over here and eat the entire box. Like I never did that with people. So it felt private. And it wasn't something that I wanted to expose. So if somebody like made a comment about my physique, it would be like an embarrassment to me because it was like, kind of like I got caught red-handed, like, shoot, they must know what I've done, right? Because if they're telling me like, oh, you look like you lost weight or something like that, then I would think in my head immediately, well, they must have known that I had the weight on. And then if I lost it, well then they were pointing that out, so then it brought me shame. It like literally made me think like, oh my gosh, like they must know that I've eaten 14 cookies now. And so it brought me embarrassment. Like if somebody said something about my physique, I felt embarrassed about it. And I know that a lot of women struggle with this, and that's where they take away their nerve-sighted because they want to do something. Like you want to move into a different realm of your life. And yet that feeling of being like excited, like you kind of just want to keep it on the down low. Well, when things start happening and things start shifting, then it becomes a part of your life. And so to be able to think about your place in the world as a different version of yourself and how you will fit into society, how will you fit into your family? What will your girlfriends think? Will your parents say something? How about your children? Like, how will this affect everybody's lives? And so I know that I've worked with a lot of women who have even felt the tie-in to the motherly or grandmotherly responsibilities of their worth, like who they are in the world and their position in the world as it's relating to how they care for themselves. Like if you're the mom or the grandma or whatever who's just like making the amazing pasta or baking the cookies and doing all this stuff, but you know that you're doing that out of love for everybody else, but at the same time that's a problem for you. It's just like, darn it, like if I didn't have to make these 3 dozen cookies and have all the cookies in the freezer, so when the grandkids come over or when the kids come over, whatever, knowing full and well that you have made 5 dozen cookies but only 3 made it to the freezer, that becomes like a torment. Because it's like, not only now are you trying to do something for yourself, but how is that going to affect your relationship with others? And so this is where we can really take away our vision of our future selves, the version of ourselves that we say we want to get to, but yet we'll pull ourselves back because how is that going to affect our day-to-day life? And so I want you to kind of think about it in 3 different pieces. And these are just puzzle pieces that I want you to fit together for yourself, because your value is not wrapped up in what you do for others. Yes, it's a part of you. It's just that it's not who you are. And so if that feels like a sticking point to you, or if this feels like something that I'm talking about that's familiar to you, then you're going to want to get curious about it. And if you can start to get curious, there is no such thing as failing. And I want you to really write that down. I have a thing written here. Yeah, when you come into a situation with curiosity, there's no failing, because you're allowed to get curious about one thing. You're allowed to kind of piece it together in your mind. You're allowed to back up. You're allowed to go another way. Think about a labyrinth. Like, you could look down a hallway in a labyrinth and you don't know. You're like, what's over there? Like, I need to look. And you might have to walk down that hallway to see, okay, well, that's a dead end. Let me back up. Let me move back. Let me try this place. So I want you to really think about this piece. When you're starting to think about the future version of yourself, sometimes we get caught in this control piece where it's like, I have to see what every piece of the puzzle is going to look like first before I even take that little journey for myself. You don't have to do that. If you're thinking that you have to know every step of the way what your journey is going to look like, sadly, you're not going to go anywhere. You will stay in this one place forever. And yes, things will change, but you won't change. Other things will change. People will grow up, people will get married, people will get divorced, whatever. People will pass, people will whatever. Everything will change except for your response to how things are happening in the world, right? The world will keep moving. As long as you don't change, though, you'll be able to control this little piece of yourself. And guess what? That very same thing of needing to be in control and needing to see all of the pieces put together before you ever make a move, well, that right there is taking your nerve-sighted, which I know you have, right? You're excited about new things, but then you'll take the sighted part off and you'll just work with the nerve part. And then you'll smack a label on it, and that label will be called stress and anxiety. And you'll just be like, oh, I'm so stressed. I'm so anxious. I can't do this. And yes, clearly anxiety is an actual disorder, like it's a thing. And I had anxiety for many, many years. So I empathize. And I had it to the degree where I barely could leave the house. I remember going on vacation one time and I had a prescription for Xanax and I was terrified to take the pills. So I would lick it. I would lick the Xanax. But it didn't do anything. It's just that in my mind it did. And so I had such anxiety that I remember I couldn't go anywhere. I mean, I really didn't go on vacation. In fact, when I got married, my husband like begged me. He was like, Lisa, please, like, take 10 Xanax, let's go on a plane. Like, we have to go somewhere. We got to travel. Like, we need to. And I was like a mess. I was a complete wreck. But I do remember he convinced me to like drive in the car 4 hours somewhere, and like literally like an hour and a half after we left, I had realized that I forgot the prescription at home, and I made him turn around. Like, I was in a do or die, like I couldn't do anything about it. So my level of anxiety was I would consider to be fairly high, and yet at the same time there was a part of my life where I was like, okay, Lisa, like, if you don't figure this out, to move, push, drive, to see the vision of something, and even if it scares the shit out of you, go for it anyways. Like, I remember the time when I finally, and this was about 4 years, I think, I struggled with this, and I was in counseling, and I finally, at that point, I remember I became a licensed massage therapist, and I had been sitting on that for all the years, and I kept going into the guy at the front office of the massage school over and over saying, all right, well, let me think on it, you know, and I was like, I thought I had to have all the money together. I thought I had to, like, what am I going to do? I have to buy a massage table. I'm like, how am I going to get clients? And how I was like, insane with my head. Like, I couldn't get out of my own way. And so that nerve sighted, like, I was excited about something, but I couldn't do anything about it because I was too busy controlling all the plans of my future self. Well, that wasn't going to work. And I remember the guy finally saying to me, and maybe I needed someone to just smack me in the head, and he goes, you've been coming in here for like 4 years telling me that you're going to sign up for this massage school. He goes, I'm not kidding. He goes, this is like the 8th time you've been in here. He goes, do you know the program's 6 months long? You could have been like, you're worried about not having money to pay for it. He goes, just put it on credit. He's like, you could have been a massage therapist for 4 years already, making money to pay back the loan that you took out for the 6 months that you would be, now you could be working already. And so it didn't make sense, and he was right. It didn't make sense that I was sitting there, fear and fear and fear and fear, and I can't do it, and oh no, I saved, you know, a little bit of money, and then, oh, tire blew, gotta fix that. And I was always pulling myself back from getting to my dreams, because the vision in my head of doing a new career and doing something different was like, oh my gosh, now what? Like, now I have a whole another slew of problems that I have to worry about. It wasn't true. I wasn't right. And so when you're feeling like these things are holding you back from seeing the future version of yourself, I want you to decide for yourself, what is it that you can get curious about? And from there, I want you to go into the next step, which is to envision the solution. Like, you don't have to worry about all of the problems that are going to be happening along the way. Those things are going to happen anyways. The greatest thing that I know about problems is they all have a solution. And you will figure out those current day-to-day problems along the way. Like, you don't have to pre-plan ahead of time for how you're going to solve all the problems, because on a day-to-day basis, you will figure it out. On a day-to-day basis, you will figure it out. As it comes to you, your mind is going to click into mode, and you're going to be like, oh, I got it. Like, the light goes out. Oh, well, I got to grab a flashlight. Like, that's what happens, right? A pipe breaks in the house, and so what happens? Okay, I got to call the plumber. Like, you will figure it out along the way. When it comes to our bodies and it comes to weight loss and the things that we want to do for ourselves to make changes, it's like we have to create a laundry list of solutions to things that aren't even problems yet. And that holds us back from ever getting to the place where we are now meeting the future version of ourselves, because we're so worried about what the problems are. So I want you to be in a solution mindset. So when you're in a solution mindset, you don't have to worry about the problems, because you know, and you can write this down, we teach this in Crush That Food Thing Self-Discovery System program, every single problem has a solution. So now if you can get out of problem mindset and be like, oh, well, what about this? And what about this? And what if this happens, right? So if you're inundated with like the what ifs or the I don't knows or the what does this look like, or living in that fear zone, and I hesitate to even say that FEAR word. I think we should just like get rid of that word, right? Because it's valuable in so many places in your life. Fear in the present moment, like if something's happening to you, if there's if you step out on a street and there's a car swerving at you and you're like, whoa, fear, back up, you got it, right? Or somebody's like, I don't know, following you, get the heebie-jeebies, like, your senses are coming on, and you will use your fear button in your body, in your brain. You will be afraid, and you will figure out what to do about it at that moment. When you have all those swirly whirls going on in your head and they create fear, they're not coming from your present mindset. So your conscious mind lives in the present. Something scares you, you pull your hand away. You're like, oh, wait, ooh, okay, what was that? You figure it out and you go after it. You're like, oh, hang on, that was weird. Let me figure out, what was that noise? I'm going to go figure that out, right? A noise pops into your house and you're like, whoo, I'm startled, I'm scared. You're going to be like, I'll be darned, there's a leak in the roof, whatever, something's happening. And you will figure out the solution to that fear in the present moment. When people say, well, like, I'm scared, like, what'll happen, like, if I do lose 30 pounds, like, what'll happen? Like, what will it look like? What if I can't bake for my family anymore? What if they don't want to change and I do? What if my girlfriends make fun of me because I'm not drinking wine? What if all of those fears, they're not coming from right now. They're just not. They're not. The subconscious mind lives in reruns. So the present mind lives in present, happening now, live, right? Like we're live right now. The subconscious mind lives in reruns. So when you are sitting there and you're not having a fear of today, you're playing an old tape. And at some point, we have to be able to press pause plus press stop, because if that tape or that reel is going all the time, well, yeah, you're going to just be sitting there in problem mode and you will not be living in solution mode. And if you're not living in solution mode, you will not be able to meet the future version of yourself, since the old tapes are playing reruns, so it's nothing new. And yeah, there were some fun times and there was some exciting moments and there was all that stuff, but it's in the past. And so if the tapes are running in the past, it doesn't allow you to live freely in the present. So that's number 2. So number 1 is curiosity. Number 2 is solution mindset. The third one is something that is called non-negotiables. And I do teach this, again, in Crush That Food Thing Self-Discovery System, where we have to be able to say to ourselves, every day counts. Every day counts. I used to have a trainer, and I did a figure competition, so like a bodybuilding type of thing. And he used to text me this thing, and he would say, A-D-E-D, A-D-E-D. Every message said A-D-E-D. Finally, I was like, what does that mean? And he says, all day, every day, baby. And I said, oh, okay. I was like, wow, I didn't get it. All day, every day. And this is where the piece of the puzzle for me and for my clients comes into place, because the only thing that we are trying to do as we're trying to break free from an emotional eating habit, and as we are moving forward in our life, to be able to meet that future version of ourselves, the only thing that we're focused on is our own authenticity. Who we are as a human being, how we want to show up in the world for ourselves. Trust me, ladies, if you change your life, the people around you will be able to change as well. Because even though it seems like you have this big piece in their puzzle, it's all malleable. It's all supposed to be shifting and growing and changing and moving. It is. And if you don't believe that, and if you feel like that makes you terrified, change your wording. Tell yourself, okay, I'm nerve-sighted. I'm nervous and I'm excited. And so use that wording as a non-negotiable. So the non-negotiables are things in your everyday that you are looking out for. And I want you to start to look out for ways that you might be using guilt, shame, blame, regret, disappointment, failure. I want you to think about all of these things that are you using the excited part of nerve-sighted, taking a hold of the nervous part, plugging in a little anxiety and stress into there, using blame, right? Because it becomes an excuse. It's a nervous part of you, and yet when I ask my women who I coach to, they have to sign a little paper. It's not with me. It's not like a contract. It's to themselves. They sign a little paper to themselves that is from the nervous me, the excited me, the anxious me, the worried me, the scared me, the private me, all of these different parts of me. But the one that we ask to really get to is the best version of me. And this is really the best version of you in your story. So everybody's got a different story coming into this space. And so what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to take your story, have you stay authentic to yourself within your story. We want to be able to give you a new version of the truth, because the old version of the truth is not working for you anymore. This is the great part about a journey, is you're supposed to move from one place to another. What happens sometimes is we get stuck because a decision that we made in the past ends up being the best decision in the past. Because we stay stuck in that best decision in the past, it becomes a belief. And the belief becomes limiting. And so when we are in that past position and we made this great decision, like maybe when we were a little kid, right? We did the best we could with what we knew at the time. But as we grow, we see that there are different ways to do things. We just don't think they're for us because we're stuck in that limiting belief. And so limiting beliefs is something that we need to expand your mindset and move forward in. I coach women every day on how to move forward from their limiting beliefs. Trust me, it is nerve-sighted. It is not scary. It is curious. It is in a solution mindset. And it comes along with the non-negotiable of saying that the only goal that you have here on this planet is to stay true to yourself. And that's the most important thing. Because if you're taking food and you're using it to hurt yourself, you're using it to shame yourself, blame yourself, self-sabotage, self-pity, it's a drain. It's a drain of energy, and it's so frustrating. But if that's what you're going to choose to do, then that will be the thing that you will continue to choose to do. And so we need to be able to move through this so that we can get to the next chapter, so that we can get to the vision of yourself that is waiting for you in the future. Waiting for you. Keep that in mind. Waiting for you. All right, ladies, I am shortening this up a little bit. So thank you so much for joining me. And I'm going to post in the link we have on Thursday. There is a complimentary support group. So I'm going to post in the comments how to sign up for that. And that's it. All right. Bye now.